Well, I'm glad I wasn't talking shit about you guys when I was in the other room. Was I?
I don't know. I wasn't really listening. Though I could hear, I was not listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were like Jimmy in that moment.
What? Huh?
What?
Huh?
What?
What?
Oh, I have a YouTube notification. What does that mean?
Hey, we're online.
Hey.
Hey, internet.
Hey, it's the internet.
Hey, internet.
It's like it would things work. Stop that.
Hey.
Give me that live chat.
Hey, hey.
Hey. Podcast every day.
Man, I barely got in on the unemployment. Like, I was having so much trouble getting logged in,
Yeah.
but I made it, Chuck. I got mine last 2 weeks, and then I have one more week to claim, and then I'm free of it until this job shuts down. Which I'm sure won't happen anytime soon, right?
No. I'm sure your first day of, hey, Karen's sick, and now everyone wear a mask. I'm sure that's not a harbinger of anything.
Yeah. Well, that person wasn't sick. They were with their daughter who got sick.
So they were sick adjacent.
Yes, they had contact with a COVID positive person.
I'm not just sure.
So, yeah, and someone who had COVID returned same day I started.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's
She's very
interesting.
nice. And seems to be in great health.
We should go make out with them.
But
get their antibodies and stuff.
But I guess it's good, like, that someone was actually sick there and nobody else got it. So I guess they're taking the proper precautions or whatever.
That does sound encouraging.
Yeah. Yep. So who knows? But hey,
indeed,
the people are nice.
Did someone do the tweet? Ooh, sorry.
And we have an office dog now, an office puppy.
There's the tweet.
I like that.
Yep, Sir Franklin.
Oh.
He's a yellow lab, and he's 8 weeks old.
Oh, shit.
And he loves to chase me around. Because I had to go to the IT guy's office, and then the owner's just like, he's coming for you. And I turn around, and the dog is like literally bounding down the hall at me. I'm like, all right.
He's coming for you.
Yeah.
Like Omar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, my first day we got introduced. We have 2 new employees today.
Oh, they just went on a hiring.
Yeah, Mackie and we have an
Slacky.
8-week-old lab.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I have no chance then.
Oh, the dog was the other employee.
Yes,
okay.
the dog was the other new employee.
I get it now.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. It's like, that dog probably gets paid more than me, doesn't he?
It's working K9 to 5.
Mm. All right, well, that was a good week we had.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Where are you going? Chuck. We lost Chuck, dude.
Oh, no.
You sound so broken up about it.
No, wait, Chuck, come back.
Yeah. Chuck, don't go. Come back here, Chuck. Get out of here, you hobo dog. Oh, kicking the dog out.
Hobo dog.
Hopefully he's not kicking the dog. That'd be bad.
I forgot to do my lips, but that, my forgetting earlier. Oh, actually, shit. I have invisible chapstick. Invisible chapstick. Invisible chapstick. It goes on ultra
screen,
clear.
even though I didn't have green screen, and it just kind of made me into a nightmare.
Invisible chapstick.
Look at Chuck, like everything's warping in and out in Chuck's world. Holy God.
Yeah. He's just phasing back into reality. That's kind of the bad thing about, these virtual backgrounds when you don't have a proper green screen. It's working pretty hard to do mediocrity.
Well, and it keeps putting the little holes in your ear, like above your,
Yep. I can mess with it too. Like, ooh, fire. Yeah. But yes.
So Chuck, did you finish the homework, Harlow?
Yes.
Okay.
Try new invisible chapstick. It's the best. I highly recommend it. Oh, my whole hand's invisible now.
Yeah, what the hell happened, man?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Oh, there it goes. There's my hand. I was like, my hand's there. I could see it. But invisible chapstick. It's the new best brand ever.
Mm-hmm. it is.
Magician.
All right.
It's an illusion.
So I got like 2 movies.
Yeah, I got stuff.
One I barely have anything to say about.
We got stuff. We'll talk about things.
I have a
Okay.
list of things that I can throw in at any time.
Things and stuff.
Things and stuff. All right, let's do this thing. If we're all recording, yes, we are all recording.
We are.
Roger that.
Nope, that was bad. Weak sauce, weak sauce.
Man. Wait. Okay. Now I'm recording. That could have been bad.
Ow, what is wrong with my hands today? Oh my god. I think my hands are too dry.
I missed.
No, I'm not missing. I am hitting full on. It's just not making any sound. Close enough. All right, welcome to the Bamfcast Variety Hour episode numbers and stuff. 10? Are we on 10? 9?
10.
10.
10.
Ooh.
10.
Yeah. So I'm Harlow.
I'm Mackie.
I'm Chuck.
Yeah, we were BJ list this week.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
equipment power mishaps over in his end of the town.
So
I wanted to say malfunctions, but nothing was really malfunctioning. It just turned off.
Mm-hmm. That's a
malfunction.
Yeah, that is a malfunction. Yeah, the ultimate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't miss that about living on that part of town.
Yeah. But
Power constantly going out.
yeah, well, my internet went out a couple weeks ago and stayed off for about a day. But anyway,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Lame.
That was fun. Anyway, we have movies and stuff to talk about. Back to our regularly scheduled program ish. I mean,
Sure.
our messages from last week stand. We're not hiding. We're not distancing ourselves from it. It's just we said what we needed to say, and we're moving on for now. At least with content wise, you know.
We still believe in everything we talked about,
Right,
but
Mm-hmm.
we got other things to talk about.
Yeah.
Sure.
So anyway, we kind of all did. Well, 2 of us did a homework. If we had BJ 3 out of 4, we would.
Yeah, sadly, BJ did the homework and then
we
bailed.
would have had like a C average if he showed up. But yeah,
So tell me about Captain Ron.
Captain Ron is a vehicle, which is a boat for Martin Short, I believe, and Kurt Russell.
Yes.
And they are on a boat, and Kurt Russell is a captain named Ron. That's
So
about all.
wait, so is the boat named Captain Ron?
No. Kurt Russell is the Captain Ron, the eponymous Captain Ron.
Oh, so you meant it was a starring
Yeah.
vehicle
Yeah.
for not the.
Yeah, it was a
vehicle
modern. He did a
itself.
modernization of the old Groucho routine called the eponymous Captain Ron, and it was a big hit. I remember that part of the movie. Anyway, no, we're not talking about Captain Ron. We are talking about a documentary that we kind of set ourselves as homework. It's called "In Search of the Last Action Hero."
Last Action Heroes.
Heroes, sorry, and it's I think it was a crowdsourced documentary that has now found its home on Amazon via Prime if you have it, or rental if you don't. And yeah, we just decided to watch it because it seemed like it was in our wheelhouse. And yeah, we're going to talk about that first, I guess.
So what have the filmmakers made anything else that I'd be familiar with?
I didn't look it up. Like, I mean, I don't know if it's the case because, like, I will say this. I don't think it's a great documentary, because it's not very well constructed as far as documentaries go. Because there is no through line that isn't just talking heads.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were very briefly show you like a movie poster or like a scene from a still and like do little things like that, but it is all clips and talking heads, and there's no like narrator driving like what's the point of this other than like reminiscing kind of thing.
Yeah, it's strange. It has some interesting opinions about things. One of which being that the term action didn't even come into the vernacular until the 1980s. Which is a little strange,
yeah.
but that's kind of the tack that they take is like, well, sure, there were Westerns, and then there were some movies in the 70s that had some action in them. However, the 80s is when it started, and then it's kind of like this hooray for all the movies that you've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like Schwarzenegger and Stallone, they made movies everyone liked, and Van Damme came along, and people like that too.
Yeah, I mean, they talk
And-
about canon at great length. There's this very Scott Adkins influence in it because I'm pretty sure they probably just had him for like 20 hours. I have a feeling they just had him for like an indefinite amount of time. As much as they,
Was this made by our friend Chase?
well, I mean, the thing is like, so
Scott Adkins fan 68.
like I don't want to diminish it, like, because they got a wide swath of people to talk to. You know, it's just it's all over the place, including like, I mean, like Alex Winter's in there, and I'm sure it's easy to get Alex Winter, but it's like, hey, you know, you come talk about this because you were in Death Wish 3, you know, and it's like, you know, and a couple other like low budget actiony things, but like that's kind of his big claim to fame is like, I think that was his first movie, right, or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got him more so. He was in the Canon documentary.
Okay.
And so a lot of people seem to have been available from that. And it was just like, well, they talked for that. Maybe they'll come talk for this.
I was going to say, like, because there's a lot of like repeated information that's either from that Canon documentary or it's not called The Movies That Made Us, but it's the one that the Toys That Made Us guys made, or is it The Movies That Made Us? I don't know. But that one that they did, that's like, there's a couple of repeats because like there was some direct stories from the Die Hard one, like being retold, and it was like, yeah, okay, heard that.
It's weird. They've got a very good selection of people for their talking heads. Now, none of the huge people are there, obviously, but like everyone who is huge person adjacent is there. Like Shane Black is all over this thing, and Shane Black is kind of a weirdo, who I feel like every time he gives a soundbite, there should have been the hell do you mean by that follow-up question, and they just keep on going. It's strange. He also talks about his career like he didn't do it. like he's above,
like
watching
in third person or something.
Not really, but just kind of like, and then these things happen. It's like, no, dude, you did them.
Well, I get what he's saying because I mean, like there was a string of time there where he was just kind of like a glorified script doctor in a lot of ways. Sure. And he did a lot of that. And I think that's what he was talking about is like, hey, I either like I got story credit because here I wrote a draft and it's like they kept some elements, so I got a story credit, you know. But it's like I think in the that's the thing is like this movie sounds like it might be a documentary about Last Action Hero. It's not. I mean, there is a section, a small section of it, but like, you know, a lot of people took a stab at Last Action Hero, including Shane Black. It's like he's got partial writing credit on it, but you know, I think what he was talking about is like. I think in context he was talking about like, you know, that did not go how I envisioned it. It didn't go how the other guy who took a pass at it envisioned it, and so you just kind of got this big mess, and we've all like taken blame or blamed other people. And then he was just like, and then I just went through a period of like, you know, just doing things that I didn't really care the end result. I just write it and pass it along. And I think that's what he was talking about until he got to like Long Kiss Goodnight, because there was like, you know, there was a solid chunk there where it was just like he was just doing, you know, things he wasn't getting like sole writing credit on or something like that.
And that was an interesting chunk too, because he's talking about that like, I'm making this action movie with a female protagonist and it's going to be awesome, and everyone told him no it won't be, and he was like, fuck you, yes it will. And then he was like, yeah, and then it came out and no one liked it and it didn't make any money, so I guess they were right. And it's like, what? It's such an odd tack to take, but so the movie like cruises along for an hour and 45 minutes like, man, 80s movies are awesome. And then it's like Last Action Hero, blip on the radar. And then they made The Rock with Nicolas Cage and everything changed. And I'm like, what the fuck? So the documentary has a very narrow view of what it considers action movies and action stars to be. And it considers the death knell of action movies to be when they started bringing in actors and training them to do fights. That's when it broke, and that's when it stopped. And it's never been that good since.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like at first they're like taking shots at Keanu Reeves for Speed, and I'm like, no, dude, Speed is awesome, and he's doing a lot of awesome stuff in Speed. They're not shitting on Speed. They've got the writer of Speed in there who's like, no, Speed is awesome.
But he was like, you know, at the time it was like, hey, you know, you're giving me Ted, you know, like, or whichever one he is. I think he's Ted.
Well, that was everyone's reaction.
Yeah, but I mean, like he had the, you know, he said like I saw Point Break, but you know, like. He was like, that's kind of corny.
And it's weird. They circle back to that for half a second. It was like, yeah, but he did Point Break. So we thought maybe he'll be okay. And it's like, what? Yeah. It's so odd that this movie has such a, I wish it had been better defined as to what they were talking about.
That's what I mean.
It's just such a narrow, like, basically they're talking about big muscle shirtless dudes movies that went away. That's what this whole thing is about. But it's basically an hour.
Basically that one man army movies went away.
It kind of, but also then it kind of ignores that there have been a whole bunch since. in one way or another. Now it shits all over the Bourne movies for its shaky cam bullshit, which I don't disagree with the shaky cam bullshit.
Well, I think you're generalizing like half the points they're saying, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying I'm defending the documentary, but I mean, the one guy who was saying like they told me they were going to shoot handheld to give more sense of action, and and we're casting Matt Damon and all the things, like it was in that transition of like bringing in actors to do action scenes and and make it look realistic, and I think he basically said like when they told me on paper that's what they were doing, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then he's like, I was proven wrong immediately. I mean, like,
yes,
he basically came back around and said like, yeah, Doug Liman changed the game, and it's like Scott Adkins said he hates it still. Like he was like, a couple of people were like, I still don't like. I mean, I appreciate, and I was proven wrong that like you could make Matt Damon look like a badass. He's like, I still don't like the handheld camera action thing. He's like, I much prefer the Hong Kong style, like the Matrix aped version of filming, and. But that's just his opinion, man.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's just like there's nothing wrong with it because I hate the Paul Greengrass version. Like I think I love Bourne Identity. I think they went hugely downhill after that. Like I think that one's amazing, and then it's like Lyman brought in the shaky camera handheld thing, and then Paul Greengrass was like, yeah, but what if we like let an epileptic hold it? Like it's one thing like to do a handheld camera, but his was just like, like I think she's flooded.
Well, and the thing about those movies too, I think, is when you watch them on a small screen, it's not as bad. But the bigger the screen is, the worse the movie gets. And it's one of those things where it's like they're probably watching dailies on their little screens and shit way back when, and going, "Oh, it's not as shaky as you think." And then you get it on a big screen, and you're like, "Oh, Jesus Christ!" And now it's like.
Yeah, because the Bourne ones did scale back.
Everyone's got a decent sized TV now, so that those movies play worse almost.
Yeah, I mean, Bourne 2 is the worst. I mean, because like that one was just beyond egregious. He pulled back in 3 and beyond, I believe, but 2 is just like it's just insane. Like I said, that to me is like my peak example because there's like a conference room scene where there's literally no action happening and the camera is just all over, and they're just talking about like, well, what if we trace his phone or whatever? And it's just like, I'm like, oh, give me a break. Like this is insane.
Yeah, I think Scott Adkins and also Cynthia Rothrock were making the point that they like it better when the camera pulls back and lets you see like the entirety of what's going on by talented people who actually can go through it.
Yes.
Right.
And I don't disagree with that.
And then they talked about that. There was a section about like how even the big actors started bringing in stuntmen when they were doing direct-to-video things, because it's like, why am I going to show off my cool kick that I can do and possibly hurt myself for this low-budget movie before it's going to go on a 20-inch TV if someone's lucky, at the time.
Yeah. It's a joyful celebration of 80s action movies, and then it's just like, oh, and then it went wrong. I get so because the big people aren't there, they bring in all the B tier people to talk about the big people, which I feel like isn't necessary. I wish the B tier people were talking about themselves more. Like Matthias Hughes is all over this thing. Like the dude from I Come in Peace is all over this, and they don't even. He's got like 85 credits. Like the dude has made a bunch of Z grade action movies.
I did like that they kept changing the Chirons.
Any of them.
I love that. Like every time they go back to somebody, they kept putting their name up, but then they like if they were talking
a different credit.
Yeah, if they had different credits or different things they were known for, or if it was relevant to what they were talking about, they changed up their credits. I just thought that was funny throughout the course of the movie.
So they don't show anything that he's ever done, which is odd. Scott Adkins is all throughout this thing looking and talking like he's 12th in line for the king. He's just a normal dude just sitting there talking, and it's not until the very end that they show a couple of clips of him, and it's just like, that guy looks entirely different in the movies. He's just a normal looking dude with the most proper British accent, just smoothly talking about his friend Jean-Claude Van Damme and shitting on random things throughout the movie. Every time he would pop up and just say, they would just interject with him to say something about Street Fighter or something, I would just laugh because it was just like, this is not who I expect Scott Adkins to be at all. This is so strange. I know I dislike Street Fighter. I need to watch Street Fighter again. just to see if I'm on board with its dumb, goofy shit by now. They spent a lot of time talking about Street Fighter for some reason.
Well, because I think Steven D'Souza was another guy they
Yes.
had like as unlimited time with. So
Yeah. I love the guy who wrote Rambo 3 who actually says, a lot of people have told me Rambo 3 is the best Rambo.
He's lying.
I'm like, no,
He
dude.
is lying.
Like, no one has ever said that to you.
Absolutely 100% lying.
Yeah, when he said that, I burst out. I just laughed my ass off.
I mean, that's a Trump level. People are saying,
Yeah. Rambo 3 is really good. It's like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
I felt like they were coming so close to like just saying Rambo started the
that are
Taliban.
the brave Mujahideen fighters.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
That's
I mean, just come out and say like, yeah, that hasn't aged well. Like Rambo did 9/11 basically. Like,
yeah, they were getting close.
I mean, they were getting real close because they were like, yeah, well, he fought the Russians ultimately in the last one, even though he was getting Vietnam POWs out, but the Russians were behind everything. And then he's like, but we need to fight them again. Well, what are they doing now? Oh, they're over in Afghanistan, like having their, the Russian Vietnam.
Yeah.
So.
It's a good documentary. It's just weird. Some of their omissions are weird. Like they don't even mention Roadhouse, which I'm just like, how do you not mention Roadhouse as like end of the 80s kind of like they kind of treat Terminator 2, even though it came out in 91, as like the end of the heyday of they're like, that's the culmination of every action thing. It's so good. And then after that, we got Last Action Hero and everything sucked.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue that T2 is kind of like the last big one of that era.
Sure.
I had to actually go check because they were they had a debate about the whole R versus PG-13 push for things, and they were like, Terminator 2 is like one of the biggest R-rated movies of all time, and I was like, that was rated R? Like, I mean, because like well, no, because I mean, like they the big thing about it was like softening him up, and I thought it was like because they like in my mind I was like they had him not kill people because they were going for a PG-13 rating or something, and
Yeah,
like
he was still RoboCopping the fuck.
I know that's what I'm saying. Like it's just like later I was like, yeah, no, there's a lot like he peels the arm off and all that gross stuff, and I'm just like, but yeah, it was like in my mind I was like, yeah, that's I was making the case of like that's one of the good uses of scaling back your rating just to like, oh well, the kids like don't kill people because it's wrong. So
well, that's the thing, like you compare that to like Total Recall and it's like, holy shit, like there's no violence in Terminator 2 when you compare it to Total Recall.
Sure.
Yeah
Well, it's Paul Verhoeven, so he likes his violence.
Who's in this? They did get him. And they got Ronnie Cox too, who is just Ronnie Cox has some stories, man. He tells one about when they called him to maybe do RoboCop 2, and he was like,
Did you see the end of RoboCop 1?
I fell out of a building, guys. And they were like, yeah, but we'll rebuild you as Robo-Villain. And he was like, man, fuck you guys.
Good for Ronnie Cox.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some salty stories, man.
Yeah.
But it's just like Al Leong is in this, and like they never really show him doing anything, and it's just weird that they don't contextualize these people that they actually did get.
That's the thing is like this feels like one of those like this was a documentary by committee, and I mean that only in so much that like I'm sure if I went and watched that Al Leong documentary, like he'd be sitting in the same room giving this like in the same chair probably or near
Probably
pretty
right,
close to it. Like I just feel like this was a thing where they were just like, man, what if we go to Comic-Con one year and we'll just like rent like 6 hotel rooms and we'll just bring people through and do interviews and like you'll do yours in this room and I mean like because I say this as having been at like Dragon Con where something similar like that was happening, like where they were making documentaries and just pulling people like random trying to get sound bites by random people and shit. So yeah.
The other this is the last thing I'll say about it. The other weird thing is I guess he doesn't give a shit, but Eric Roberts kind of shitting on everybody throughout this documentary is kind of strange. Just like Eric Roberts not giving a fuck and just being like, yeah, Best of the Best was cool. Best of the Best 2 is kind of shitty. Best of the Best 3 and 4. He shits on those even though he's not in them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
shit on 2.
I mean, not everybody was exactly knowledgeable about what they were talking about because, like, God bless Al Leong, but like the 2 examples he gave were like, were series that had some of the best sequels of all of them, and he was just like, Die Hard and Lethal Weapon. It's like the first ones are good, but they just get bad after that. I'm like, okay, you could say that about like almost any other film series, but like Lethal Weapon 2 is awesome, and Die Hard 2
is better.
Die Hard 2 is fine. It's the same movie, but Die Hard 3 is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like I was like, you picked a bad series to give that example of, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you pick any
But
horror.
they kind of address that too. It's like, okay, how many times can Bruce Willis be caught in a situation
Sure.
he's not prepared for? Which is true. Like, you know, especially the Die Hard, which shall not be named, fucking sucks on ice. And
Mm-hmm.
and I know people don't like 4. I think 4 is kind of okay, even though it is just, you know, as Michael Scott said, he is launching cars into helicopters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's an okay documentary to watch. I'll say that. You'll probably write down like, I need to watch that again. I need to watch that again.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird how they have like a photo of Jackie Chan and they just say, and then Jackie Chan made some movies anyway.
No, they had clips. No, they had clips from Police Story and
that's
like
right,
Project
Police
A.
Story.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
right. Okay.
Yeah, they showed like multiple bits of the broken glass, like plenty of some of the
Yes.
broken glass from Police Story.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, there are some Cynthia Rothrock movies I have to find.
Yeah, I really need to find her earlier Hong Kong ones because those looked
Yeah.
awesome. Like when
I
she's
think-
super
I
spry
think if
and
those are short enough, we should definitely
Yeah.
watch those because my God.
yeah,
Mhm.
she looked like she was doing some serious ass kicking in those.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yes.
that's on Prime. It's good, not great.
Mhm.
If you like those kinds of documentaries, it's one of those.
Should I, speaking of Jackie Chan now? Or,
Sure.
I mean, you just mentioned him, so I figured
Yeah.
it's a
right, I
time.
did.
Yeah, so as I'm still doing Project AM. This actually happened last week, which is, now that I think about it, the just bad timing. But I finally hit the point where I was like, all right, it's time to watch. He's had multiple American offerings, you know, like times he's come to America and be like, this is the thing, this is the one. But you know, there's 5 movies that are arguably the biggest ones because there's the 3 Rush Hours and the 2 Shanghai movies. You know, I mean, those are kind of like his highest profile things, I think, here in America, if you will.
Yes.
So I was like, it's probably time to watch these. And I have some thoughts. So I'll delve into the Rush Hour series first, because I think that's how I actually watched them. Rush Hour is a weird series because, I mean, we've all kind of universally agreed that like Brett Ratner, not great director, probably awful human being. I think we've determined that too now, for confirmation bias. But you know, like I've always said, like, you know, he's not a great director. He's a competent director. You know, like you know, it could be worse. Like, you know, he's the kind of guy you bring in to like make a movie on budget, you know, sort of thing. You know, and it's like there's sometimes nothing wrong with that, and I don't think there's like, I mean, other than the things that actually are offensive, I don't think there's anything offensive about the filmmaking in either of those 3 movies per se. Because I mean, I'm pretty sure what it is like, hey Brett, come over here, film the bits where we're talking and, you know, all the exposition stuff, and then I will defer most of the action to Jackie Chan and his stunt team. Because I mean, when the action kicks in, it's like, okay, yeah, this is pretty much a Jackie Chan movie, just with like obviously like all proper lighting and everything, you know, like big budget, you know, if you will, like. And like I don't think any of them are that bad, except for like 3 is such a weird one because 3 was actually actively making me angry because it is one of those movies that is like, if you, besides, like, again, like there's super casual racism throughout those movies on a grand scale, and so, you know, like I said, probably not the best time to maybe just be watching those where it's just like, I don't know, maybe we'll solve our differences by just leaning into racism kind of time period movies, you know, sort of thing. And that's kind of what it was. And obviously that didn't work. And so there's that aside. But like the third one is like, if you've seen a movie, you can predict everything that is going to happen. Like it is one of those movies that is just so basic, like the plot of it. Like there's a thing that's supposed to be a reveal that it was just like literally a millisecond into the setup. I was like, it's that. I was just like, it was like this thing. It was like supposed to be this drawn out, like, you know, darkly lit, like reveal, like, haha, I fooled you. And it's like literally 2 seconds in, I was like, it's obviously that. Like, so I so clearly, like, I've seen a movie. And for most of the movie, I was just like, I kind of hated it, except there was a joke in it that fucking I was literally like, I got to a point where I was just kind of, I'm going to semi watch the movie, walk around, like make myself some lunch, walk around, do a couple things, like kind of watch the movie, but you know, only sit down and pay attention when it's the fight scenes. And there is a joke that is not in a fight scene that just stopped me dead in my tracks, and I just guffawed. Like, I mean, it is like it's a Chris Tucker line that's in the middle of like a trying to be sex scene, and it's just fucking funny as shit. Like, I don't even want to try to like re-say it, but it's just like it is this. I don't know if it's an ad lib thing or it's just fucking great. It's just, and it pissed me off that like there was something so goddamn funny in a movie that is so utterly mediocre otherwise, because there did not need to be a third one of those. And I hear rumors they're maybe making a fourth one. It's like, no, just no.
Keep saying that.
Yeah, like I would see. I'm gonna move on because like rush hours are fine. Like there's some good fighting sequences in it. There's nothing spectacular. Like it's not like you're gonna get some of the best Jackie Chan things that you've never seen in anything else. There's some good stuff. Nothing spectacular in any rush hours. They're fine. Like I said, they're just good background. You could do worse kind of movies, kind of thing, in my opinion. The Shanghai movies are a little bit of a different story, because like the first one, I've never particularly liked the first one. I will say this about the first one because I will start positive. In watching it now, that is a beautifully shot movie, and maybe it's just because I've been watching so many. I'm not saying it like a bad thing, but so many more rushed, lower budget Jackie Chan movies that like this movie is fucking gorgeously shot, and and it's got really great locales in the Old West and all this stuff, and it's just like I kind of forgot how good it actually looks. I think it's kind of a mess of what they were trying to do. Like I think it's a good concept of bringing the East and the West together in that time period, like the literal actual Old West and the Imperial China East. Like I think that's a fascinating concept. I just don't think it does anything particularly fun in it. But I kind of adore the second movie, Shanghai Knights. Like I that's a weird take, and I'm probably like one of the only people out there. But I like this movie from the minute I saw it in the theater. Like I liked the first Shanghai movie enough, and I was in the in the era when I would see just about any Jackie Chan movie in the theater still up until to a point.
Until the Tuxedo.
Yeah. And so like I liked the first Shanghai enough that like when the second one came on, I was like, I'm actually going to go see this in the theater, and really liked it. And it's this fun, wacky, anachronistic thing, and it's just like there are things in that movie that should not work that work for me for whatever reason, like characters coming together, sort of like an Assassin's Creed game where it's just like, well, we're in Rome of this time, obviously screw 40, 50 years difference of people. It's just like these people all knew each other kind of feel to it, where it's just like it's like a greatest hits of like 1890 London or whatever, where it's like Jack the Ripper's got to get mentioned, and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's a character in the movie, so it's like all these things. It's like, hey, this is probably going to lead to something, huh? Like I might write something one day, huh? Kind of things. But it's like for some stupid reason in that movie, it works for me, and I cannot explain it. Plus,
so is it like an Assassin's Creed game?
Kind of.
Like anyone in this time period, you're going to run into them.
Like I can't explain it. It's got this cheese level that just absolutely works for me, because I mean, like on the plus side, it's like I think it's got some fantastic fight sequences in it. Like there is, it's a little cornball from time to time because like I said, the whole movie is like what I was just complaining about in Rush Hour 3 of like the obvious like everything about the plot. Like there is like needle drops and things in this movie that are just anachronistic, and it's like, yeah, of course that's the first song that would come up if you Google what song should I put to this scene. But for some reason in this movie with like Jackie Chan and everyone, like it's such a happy movie. Like that's the other thing is like there are stakes, but it's like everything's solved by like like everyone's kind of got this like, yeah, man, it'll all work out kind of attitude. Yeah, like it's solved with stunts, and like everyone's just like, man, you betrayed me, but anyway, like it's cool now. Like it's just like it's like the easiest going movie, and I can't explain. Like, and you've got Jackie Chan doing cool shit. Like there's an umbrella fight in it that is cool as shit, and of course it starts playing like Singing in the Rain in the background, which like I said is sort of cornball. And there's some obvious wire stuff when they have like umbrellas like hover in the air for a little longer than they actually would and stuff like that. But like the choreography of this is great. But you also have Donnie Yen is in this movie as one of the bad guys, and the other bad guy is Littlefinger, like young Littlefinger, and it's fucking great. I love this movie. I like if you've never watched those two, like I mean I would say you kind of need to watch Shanghai Noon just because like there is a little bit of a story in them, it's not super important, but there is like it is kind of a direct continuation. Because like I totally forgot that like Lucy Liu was in the first one playing the princess. Yeah, that was a weird era for her. Like she kind of already like started to become a big star, but then it was like, hey, you want to just play this bit part, damsel in distress part in this movie? It's a weird time period, but yeah. So like they have to mention her character and stuff like that. But yeah, I highly recommend Shanghai Knights. You're probably gonna watch this and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But it's one of those feel good movies that works for me.
From the maker of Fred Claus.
Yes, I know. It's like the credits on some of these movies are bizarre. I think Shanghai New is that the guy that like went on to make Marmaduke. Like I think that's like why Owen Wilson is the voice in that, because he was like, hey, I worked with him. Wow, like I can call him. You want to be Marmaduke? I don't know why he sounds like this, but he does in my head. I made Shanghai Noon. Yeah. But yeah.
That is one of the interesting things about that documentary, though, is that they kept mentioning how many times like these action movies are directed by people who have no idea what they're doing, like constantly. And it's with these things too, it's they're people who are not action directors are directing action movies.
Like I said, I think it works for the Jackie Chan movie because like his entire stunt team is going to be there anyway, so it's just like you have like 30 quote unquote directing credits under your belt, Jackie. Take the reins on the action sequences. It's yours. You're going to do it right. So. I also say like a fun little game to play is it's not like there's plenty of ways that they hide it in Shanghai Noon because there are Native Americans and things like that, and they just put people in war paint and all this stuff. But like, it's a lot harder in Shanghai Knights in pasty ass England. But watch the fight sequences for the people to turn from like British blonde haired soldiers into Asian people. Like it's just real fun. Like it's a fun side game to play. Like they do a pretty good job hiding it, but like there's some shots that's just like, whoa, like, that is an Asian dude with the blonde wig on. Okay, like very clearly, yeah, yeah.
It's weird. Of those 5, Shanghai Knights is the only one I haven't seen.
That and I don't know why. Like I adore that. Like I said, I almost want to tell you the joke in Rush Hour 3, so just so you don't have to sit through the rest of Rush Hour 3, but. That would be like Chuck's review of The Descent, and I'm not going to do that. Like, you take the gauntlet that I did and watch all of Rush Hour 3.
I still have not. I realized I haven't seen Rush Hour 3. I saw 1 and 2 in the theater.
Yeah. And Rush Hour 3 was like 4 years later
time,
or something weird. Like, it was just like, oh, we're doing another one of these? It was like just a little bit too long where it's just like, oh, well, I don't need that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, it's so by the fucking numbers, like, except that one joke. And I do love the opening sequence for whatever reason. Chris Tucker, they never explain it, but like he's been busted down to doing traffic cop duty despite being a detective and continue to identify himself as a detective throughout the rest of the movie. But he's doing traffic.
Weapon 3 premise.
Kind of, yeah. But he's doing traffic cop duty. But he's doing his Michael Jackson dance while singing Prince's "Do Me Baby," I believe, in the middle of traffic. Which
I think I remember that from the trailer.
Yeah, like I mean I won't lie, that sequence made me laugh, but like other than that, it's like it's this blank void of like ugh, until like you get to this like one joke and it's just like, damn, that made it all worth it. Yeah, Shanghai Knights. It's my secret magic bullet one of all of those. Like I said, if you're like Chuck and you're like, no more of this American Jackie Chan, you'll probably think Harlow's an insane person, but that's the one I like.
All right.
Yeah.
So, I want to talk about something I didn't like.
Okay.
It's brand new. Artemis Fowl. Yeah, straight to Disney Plus.
More like FOUL.
Like, I don't care about the books because I've never read them and never will.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck
I mean,
books.
just like,
Fuck them books.
like okay,
you'll get a paper cut.
I understand that the premise is that the kid is like a supervillain's son and is basically like, I'm going to be a supervillain too.
Oh.
And
So it's the Runaways if it went in a different direction?
kind of,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
But the movie doesn't give you any of that aside from like, oh, his dad, who's Colin Farrell, who again, like gets to walk away from this unscathed because he's Colin Farrell. And it's like, yeah, you're here for, you shot for like 2 days and you fucking nailed it. And then you're not in the movie anymore. So, but his, it's basically like, oh, his dad was a super thief. And then he's just presented as, okay, Artemis Fowl is really smart and really smug. And that's his personality. And
Cool.
it's one of those, The thing about it is, the movie itself is just trying to hype man this character, even though it's not happening. But what it does is it turns it into the Artemis drinking game. Because if you try to count if you try to drink every time someone says Artemis in that movie, you will fucking pay the porcelain price very soon because you will kill yourself. Like you'll straight up kill yourself because, like, I mean, just in Josh Gad's opening dialogue thing, he says Artemis Fowl like 8 times, maybe 9 times in, a 3-minute monologue. And it's like, what the fuck, movie? Like, I want to just go in and make fake IMDb trivia that says the name Artemis is mentioned 376 times in the movie's 89-minute runtime. But all it does is it's just like every time someone says Artemis, you start laughing. Like Jen was like laughing every time it came up because it's just like, oh my God, here we go again. And to give you an idea of the filmmaking, and it's Kenneth Branagh, which like he's better than this.
Wait,
generally
really?
speaking. Yeah, it's Kenneth Branagh directed it.
Shit.
There is a shot when he finds out his dad has gone missing where he has a jug of milk and he drops it to the ground at the camera and it smashes in slow motion. So
Did he cry?
what?
Did
Yes.
he cry?
Oh,
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I didn't know if it was about his dad or the milk. I just
Yeah. But
it was a bold choice.
Yeah. Dame Judi Dench is in this, playing the police captain of all the ferries.
Sure.
Because there's a fairy world, but it's all like technological bullshit. It's kind of like doing the Thor thing where it's like, it's magic, but it's actually technology we just don't understand, that sort of shit. But yeah, Dame Judi Dench is in it, and their direction for her was, hey, you gargled sandpaper, so just speak like that. And she's like, all right. The whole movie. And then they come over to Josh Gad and they go, hey, you play a dwarf. Did you hear what we told Judi Dench? Do that, but more. So if you can imagine Josh Gad, where his thing is like being kind of hyperactive, high-pitched annoying, except he's trying to do like Dennis Rodman's voice from The Last Dance. It doesn't work, and none of it works. And God, like the other thing about it is there were only like 4 settings in a movie that looks like it costs like, $200 million to make. There are like literally 4 settings. Like they got through all that, like basically the fairies come to his house because I don't even want to get into it, but like they all come to his house to try and get him to give up. He's captured one of the fairies. So the whole plot is to get him to give that fairy back. And that's like an hour of the 29-minute movie is them laying siege to his house and him going, well, I've got a plan and I'm going to beat all of this because I'm smug and I'm Artemis Fowl and I'm 12. And
Are the fairies bad?
No.
I mean, depends on your mythology. They were
Yeah,
bad.
I mean,
They were
kinda,
bad in
no,
True
I mean,
Blood.
they want to live down under the earth and leave us humans out of it.
And so he
But-
kidnaps one, and
but
he's like,
some-
I'm not
but-
giving it back. I'm Artemis Fowl.
Kind of, yes.
Okay.
He's taken the fairy and he's not giving it back.
All right.
But that
I read about that
fairy's
on his,
father was
I've read
helping
about that on
his
his Facebook
father
page.
hide some fairy MacGuffin, and that will end the world because his father's been kidnapped by a bad fairy, and it's very clearly like, all right, we're setting up a whole bunch more movies here, but my understanding after reading more about it later is like they took chunks from the other books and then just used them here, and then missed all the things that cause the character development that make those parts work.
So they actually could have made a series of movies, but they cheated and jumped ahead.
Yes.
Cool.
And they pissed off everyone that didn't like the books. And then people like me who haven't read the books are just like, wow, that's it? And I'm supposed to like this kid? Because, like, he's a douche. Like, throughout the movie, he's a smug douche. And the only thing worse than a smug douche is a 12-year-old smug douche. And, yeah.
I think it's the pendulum swinging the other way because now they know most young adult series don't count on it finishing. or having people that want to finish it.
Yeah.
So I,
Well,
I,
I
I
mean,
think maybe they were
it's
just like,
telling that the rights to the movie were sold before the book published,
Oh,
and that was in 2001, and they've been trying to make this fucking thing since then. And yeah,
yeah, I have a feeling it's like we're probably going to see more of this. I mean, hopefully, maybe done better, where it's just like, yeah, we know this is a thing, and if it's super popular, we might leave room to make a new thing, but not like, oh, we're making book 1 of a 7-book series because shit ain't going to finish probably. It's very few things now that are like, going to sustain from the, because I mean, even the Hunger Games by the last one, people were like, yeah, we were done with that shit 2 years ago. Like we were over the books and barely cared. Then, it's like, I mean, I know they did fine, but I'm just saying, like, by the time those movies were done being made, they were like, I think the actors were fucking tired of it. Like, the audience was kind of tired of it. It's a big committal, thing. Like
Well,
Harry Potter worked, but like very few things will.
those stories didn't necessarily have growth. They were just like, welcome to the next Hunger Games.
Mhm.
It was like, oh, all right.
well,
Now it's Hunger Games All Stars.
My problem with those, it was basically like, well, everybody's the bad guy,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So-
Like I said,
Yeah.
I mean, I think if I was a writer and I was shooting for like I'm just going to make money by shitting out some young adult fiction thing, I would make a 3-book series and then crank out another one, because those are like, I think 3-book series are perfect for movies, because like movies work really well in threes. It's not too much of a commitment. You lock in some actor who maybe becomes more famous midway through making them, but then you just got the cachet of like, well, you committed to 3 movies. Like it's just like it's an easy bankable thing. Like, and if I was like looking to cash in, it's like, yeah, here's 3 books of this series. And
Yeah, it's weird, and most of them either don't end up getting finished or they just trail off and no one gives a shit. But there's one that I thought that was decent and was surprised it didn't get another entry, and that is I Am Number 4,
okay,
which I think is another Disney thing.
Mhm.
I know it didn't do well, but that, to me, I was like, well, this is more interesting than most, and it had Oliphant in it, so that that it had some stuff relevant to my interests.
I'm
And it had
surprised-
the other guy from Magic Mike.
Yep.
Manganiello,
No,
Manganiello.
whoever the kid was who suddenly became the focus of the movie. in the
Oh,
second
him.
half.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I'm surprised I like the Maze Runner movies as much as I did. Like, I mean, there's nothing special about most of these series, but like, if they, if they're competent enough movies, and that you're not in for this, like, I mean, like when I tried to watch that fucking Divergent series, and by the second movie, it was like, oh, nobody wants to be here, like immediately. Like,
Is that the one where they all quit and they just didn't finish it?
I think
Like everyone was just like, I don't want to do this.
I
The
think
third one was like a direct to TV movie.
something like
Oh,
that,
that's
and I
right,
think
yeah.
there was supposed to be like one more book, and they were just like, no.
Yeah, they all quit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No
Yeah,
more.
but this, like, it always bugs me to see like knowing so many FX artists probably worked 100-hour weeks putting shit like this together to make just like these insane, crazy worlds and all these effect shots, and it's just like, for what?
Well, go watch
like
Bright.
like that's almost the worst thing about a huge budget blockbuster just being terrible. And not just in like the Star Wars way where it's just like, no, everything has to be tech, green screen, but like just to not even have a good script that goes anywhere. It's just, it's a shame, because this one literally feels like there's like a prologue and then an act and then an epilogue. Like it's got that kind of syndrome like that Jurassic Park 3 almost had, where it's like you're like, all right, third act's going to kick in. This is where we do this. And it's like, nope, credits. This is the end of the movie. You're like, wait, what?
I will always call that the fan four stick or whatever it is, the Fantastic Four, the Josh Trank one.
Yeah.
Like that is the quintessential, like, that you think the movie's about to start and the fucking credits roll.
Yeah. Like the 2-act movie.
Yeah, you're
basically.
like, oh man, okay, like they've established who they are, what their powers are, and there's the bad guy, and it's like, oh, movie over? What? Like, like, all right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, thank you, but also, like, you think you forgot to finish your movie.
I tell you, I mean, obviously a lot of terrible things are happening right now, but like one thing that I'm hoping comes out of this as we emerge from the other side of what's going on is that I would hope like 18 months to 2 years from now, every movie is going to have the most polished fucking screenplay ever.
Hope.
Like they're since nothing is being filmed right now, everything is just be like, okay, refine the shit out of this.
Mm-hmm.
No one's writing pages on the fly. No one's like, I don't know, rip that shit out. We'll just cover it with narration or something. Every script, like if for a movie 2 years from now had better, like that Fast and the Furious movie that delayed, they better be just filling any gap they can think of in that film with some kind of like, all right, we just need to insert a thing here and this will make sense. And although it's not going to make sense, it's a Fast and Furious movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm hoping, man, there's some polished fucking screenplays.
You'd hope.
Yeah, I mean, I think first year or two is just going to be like, the backlog of movies that have been sitting on the shelf.
Sure.
Since nothing's being made right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I got a thing that people don't seem to like that's streaming.
What is it, Chuck?
I watched the entirety of Space Force.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I did that too. Kind of forgot to bring that up.
People don't seem to like Space Force, and I'm not exactly sure why. I haven't dug deep to figure out exactly what's going on there. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's an amazing television show or anything. I laughed. I plowed through all 10 episodes and was like, this was entertaining. There's a lot of stuff that could have been better. They seem to rush to a finale super quick. Like in the last couple of episodes, it's like someone gave them word that a 4-season show was going to be a 2-season show. And they're just like, uh-oh, do the thing now, go. And they just had to like jump ahead. They don't really even jump ahead in time. It's just like, okay, now do this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I that show is fine, and I hate to say that because I know people are going to ridicule me for saying it's fine, but it's fine. There are laughs in it. There are good jokes. I kind of think the first episode is kind of rough in terms of like, what the hell is this? And I'm not really laughing. But then like the second episode is so absurdly ridiculous in what it's trying to do that from then on I was just like, well, whatever. This is so goofy. I don't really care. It seems like people are mad that such a stupid idea as creating a space force, which is a real thing that is happening in 2020.
I keep seeing the commercials for it.
Yeah. I think people are mad that the show was like, well, let's do our best with a dumb idea. But that's exactly what's going to happen. If people are being tasked with making a space force, the people who have to do it are going to try and do the best job they can with it. And I think people were pissed that this show wasn't just 10 episodes of this is stupid, fuck everything, let's sabotage everything and call it a day. Maybe that's the issue. I don't know. Other than it's not fall down funny all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah, did I miss something? Because there's kind of there's a plot development early on from a time jump that I don't think ever got explained.
Oh, Lisa Kudrow's
Yeah.
predicament. Yeah, that they.
Okay, I was just
think
making sure I didn't miss that for some reason because it's like
I think they are specifically not doing that for one of two reasons. Either they have an idea to map that out and make it something worthwhile instead of just dropping it as a thing, or the other thing, because it's such a long sentence, it's probably something horrific and everyone would hate that character if they knew what it was, so therefore best not to say it.
Yeah, I mean, it also means that it's very easy for a guest starring schedule to pop in whenever you feel like it.
Yes.
But I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
weird.
Like I feel like there was a time jump, and I was like, "What? Like what happened? What?
Yeah.
You're gonna keep bringing it up, but I'm pretty sure I just still don't know what happened."
It just kind of became funny to me that they were never explaining it.
Okay.
And every time she would show up, she'd be in a different scenario and look different, and so
Yeah, that's.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of in the same boat. I mean, it's like, yeah, I don't think it's amazing, but it was certainly watchable, and it was good for a laugh or two here and there. I mean, a couple of really good ones, I thought, and yeah,
it is. I mean, obviously, it is. Steve Carell is writing a lot of it, and it's the Office people and the people from the Office writing staff are writing it and stuff like that. It never hits that kind of kind of like cringe, uncomfortable thing. It's just a story. It's just a space story. And you're kind of rooting for the people involved because they are tasked with a stupid situation, but they're like, whatever, space is cool. Let's do space things. I know Malkovich does a lot of shit these days, but committing to a television show seemed interesting.
Yes. I was going to say, I think he's easily the best part of it. I mean,
yeah. Did he have an accent in the first episode that went completely away after that? I feel like he was doing some sort of Norwegian accent or something when it started. That completely left. It was
maybe, I don't know. Maybe I wasn't
I
paying
don't
that
know.
much
Maybe
attention.
if his character was just pretending for a scene to have an accent and then that went away, but I don't know. The last few scenes of Fred Willard sprinkled throughout the show are some pretty good stuff. There's one thing he said that just had me fall on the floor. Character tells him two things, like my phone battery's dying and also, mom's been arrested or something like that. And he's like, oh my God, honey, always keep your phone charged.
Yeah, always keep at least 20% on your phone.
That sounds like a Fred Willard.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just, so, I mean, there's every once in a while, it just hits you with something where it's just like, oh, wow. Okay. Yes, that's good. Overall, it's,
Or the one where his wife's dying in the background while the paramedics are trying to revive her.
He's just like, well, gotta go. Situation here. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's some good stuff in it. Yeah.
Some really good stuff in there. Overall, it's 5 hours worth of TV. There's nothing else to do right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, it's for me, it's a weird one to complain about just because it's like, all right, like, I don't know. It's just like, I don't get it. Like, it's kind of a harmless show to me.
Yeah. Could be better. I think Ben Schwartz is the best thing on that show. I can see how some people hate Ben Schwartz, and I could get that, but I think his character is he seems like a very true to life PR person. So
yeah,
it's fine. It's totally watchable. There's not a lot of funny out there right now.
Take all the funny you can get.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I talk about briefly as far as like things that were dropped in their entirety. I watched the entirety of the new Looney Tunes that's on HBO Max.
Oh yeah.
Because we have to get our HBO Max money. Obviously we're we're sponsored by them now. So
are we?
No, I think we've mentioned them a lot here recently because we even did a little section.
Watching HBO Max.
Yeah,
content, it's the newest thing.
Yeah,
it's the maximum.
I talked about Apple TV when it was new, and it was like, oh hey, this is interesting. There's just no content. At least HBO Max has some content. But yeah, I watched the entirety of the Looney Tunes thing. Like, I get it. Like, I have a lifelong like obsession with Looney Tunes, and that's going to probably be the thing that as I age is going to be harder to justify. Like, I get it. Like, it's a weird thing. Like, I mean, we all have things that it's like it's going to be hard to let go eventually. Like, I mean, at some point you're just going to look at this and be like, like, I mean, the PC police are going to police it out of existence, and I mean, because we're already attacking satire, and I mean, like, that's a whole other conversation that I'm not looking to get into. But I mean, Looney Tunes in its original pure form is got a lot of problematic content in it, obviously, and I'm aware of this, and I'm not celebrating it. I'm just saying I grew up watching a shitload of Looney Tunes, so I kind of was like, I have to see this. And to be honest with you, like, it's kind of like exactly what you think it should be. Like, it's kind of the episode 7 Star Wars of what Looney Tunes was. Like, we've gone through a lot of like, what is Looney Tunes? Like, are we Space Jam? Are we like, the Toon Squad or whatever the hell that weird one was where they like tried to, edgy up them,
We are airbrushed T-shirts.
Yes.
That you buy at the flea market.
I'm just saying, like, then there's the earnest attempt by Joe Dante to like make a live action thing that's buy it, and people are like, no, not that. So it's like it's been a thing that like just doesn't have a clear voice anymore, and then it's weird because in a lot of ways, like, some, I'm not saying all because you can't speak for an entire group of people, but it's funny because like in some regards Looney Tunes has been a thing that like people have come after for ethnic or racial stereotypes, and people who are not among that group got offended for the other people, and the other people were like, no, we think that's actually kind of fucking funny. Like, some people are allowed to laugh at a caricature of like their stereotypes, and you can't always be offended on their behalf. Like if a group says, I don't think this is cool, then maybe address it. But like, but the new one is sanitized. It's I didn't even notice it at the time that I was watching it, but obviously like Elmer Fudd had his guns removed. He's no longer hunting wabbits. I guess he's just casually chasing them with his bare hands. I guess it's not really a thing I noticed at the time that I was watching.
I did have a question about that.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, I don't care that he took his gun away. Who
Sure.
gives a shit? But so what is the role of Elmer Fudd in the?
I mean, he's still a foil to Bugs Bunny. I mean, it's not like that dynamic has not changed. It's not like, oh, we're friends now. Like,
is he just like stalking him? I mean, like,
there's one I think
still like out in the woods and
there's one where he's tending a garden and Bugs is stealing his carrots. Obviously, so they just have a wacky back and forth and things like that. Yeah.
What an amazing concept.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's the thing is like a lot of what's happening in these are sort of that. The reason I said the episode 7 thing is I'm saying that in an earnest attempt to say this is the safe place that we needed at the time that episode 7 came out. I know there are, plenty of arguments to be made about the sequel trilogy and people that hate that on a different level. And I'm not here to argue that. I'm saying when episode 7 came out, it was like, yes, we are retreading a lot of the original Star Wars, their plot points and things like that. It's okay. It's safe. It's familiar. Let us get back to being like, is Star Wars okay again? It's that safe feeling you have where you're like, it might be okay again. Like, it's not just like, Lisa doing this and floppy ears bullshit and, all that prequel bullshit that the other people think is fucking good and you're insane. But anyway, my point is like
people are children.
These
who saw it when they were children.
These things are very much like, oh, okay, this is going to start pretty much like a classic, Roadrunner cartoon or Bugs Bunny or Daffy Duck or whatever cartoon, and they'll just do some different jokes from here and there. But it's like the setups are like very much the classic. Like, yeah, I think I remember like the one where it's like it's not quite the coyote, but he's got a different colored nose, and there's the dog that chases him when he's trying to steal a sheep. But he talks this time, Ralph. So like they do one of those, and like I said, it's like all the kind of greatest hits ones minus a few characters, obviously, and. Yeah, I mean, even Yosemite Sam, I believe, was back in some capacity. I mean, I don't remember if I think they just called him Sam, but like, I don't know. Like, not that Yosemite is like it's a state park or or a national park.
Yeah. Was there any Foghorn Leghorn?
I think there was one. I think. Yeah, no Speedy Gonzalez. He's the one that I'm like, and the thing is, it's like, you go down to Mexico, he's fucking everywhere. They kind of love him. That's what I was alluding to. Like, he's fucking everywhere, like airbrushed. like fucking everywhere.
That's what you want.
Yeah. And I'm like, we got offended. White people in America got offended on their behalf. And they're kind of like, it's fucking funny, man. like, have you seen the Huevos things? Like, we like that shit. like, yeah.
I mean, he's the hero of the stories.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I get it, but also, sure, if they like it, then
yeah, I don't think they did Pepe Le Pew either, and I don't recall any like French people speaking out about that, but maybe it was the rapey vibe he was always giving off. It probably
was the rapey vibe.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't recall that they did one of those either, but
when you put it that way.
Yeah. But I mean, like they brought back a character that like is always one of my favorites because they morphed the evil scientist at some point in time. Like, there was this one, like, remember the big furry red fur creature that chased Bugs Bunny in the evil castle one time? And he had this scientist guy, and it was this, like, little, like, he was like this little, like, he looked like Dr. Frankenstein and his monster merged into one little tiny dude. And I loved that version of him. And then, like, later he became more of, like, a Boris Karloff looking, or not Boris Karloff, the fucking dude in Casablanca.
Peter Lorre?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, it looked kind of more like that, and like kind of morphed him into looking sort of like that, and it was just like a weird character change, kind of like I think they kept the fur monster guy, but they used the original doctor guy, and I was like, hey, I know that, but yeah, it's fine. No, I just like I said, I wanted to get out that it's like if you're a fan of Looney Tunes, it's like, yeah, it's sort of like a greatest hits album / cover band doing it. Because I mean, all the original voices are going to be a little different. Some are going to be. It's like it's the Muppet scenario. It's like it's like they don't sound exactly right, but what are you going to do?
Right.
So, I like my point is I think it's fine. Like as a Looney Tunes fan, I was not offended by like the exclusion of anything or anything like that. I barely even noticed. Like I said, it's only in retrospect that I'm like, shit, was there a Foghorn Leghorn episode? Like I honestly don't remember. Because like I mean, I'll be honest, like Tweety Bird Sylvester episodes, I don't give a fuck. Like I hate that premise for some reason. And I think it's the Artemis Fowl thing. It's like Tweety Bird's a smug little piece of shit. like everyone else is. I mean, yes, Bugs is too, but like Bugs is like got that sly.
Bugs has earned it.
Yeah, he's got that sly like Brooklyn sarcastic thing, and Tweety Bird's just like, yeah, I do that. It's like fucking evil Urkel and shit. It's like fuck off, Tweety. Like I hope that cat fucking eats you. Yeah. Well, he basically
stand right
I mean,
here.
he basically almost says like that a lot of times. Like he'll do something that nearly murders Sylvester, and then it's just like this cute little like blink, 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 like did I do that kind of thing? And it's like fuck you, Tweety Bird.
Yeah, you gaslight.
That's why he's the chosen figure to put on R.I.P. shirts, because everybody wishes Tweety Bird was fucking dead.
Man,
Yeah.
Him and Little Saint.
Anyway, sorry, Tweety fans out there. I'm send me any angry tweet.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I got a kids thing I can talk about super
Okay.
quick. I watched DreamWorks Turbo.
Is that the racing
That's
snail
the
one?
snail one, right?
Yeah, it
Okay,
sure is.
I had to think about that one for a second.
What sequence of events led to you watching this, Chuck?
Were you
Okay.
feeling extra salty?
Hear me out on this.
Mhm.
I bought Turbo for the Xbox 360,
Oh, you had to understand what you were going to play?
and then I was like, I don't want to play this without context. But then also I looked at the cast, and the cast is fucking ridiculous.
All right, well, hold on. Wait, hold on. Back up 1 second. We need to Mega 13 this for a second.
Uh-huh.
Bought it?
You just dropped that you buy the Turbo video game. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I do.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
Have you
well,
met me? I play those games.
we still don't know why. Like, like when someone
Tune
could
into the next
like
No Quarters
somebody
and I'll
kills
tell you why.
somebody, and you're like, why? And then they go kill a bunch more people. You don't just start going like, well, they just kill people. That's what they do. you still keep going. Why?
This is much more innocent than
Oh,
that.
sure.
Okay.
Anyway, it was on sale, and I was
hmm
filling a binder. So anyway, but yeah, then I looked at the cast, and I was like, the cast for this movie is ridiculous. Like, fucking ridiculous cast for this movie. So I was like, all right, it's DreamWorks. Might as well watch it. I admit a lot of times I'm like, I get why kids like this, but it's not for me. I don't know who this movie is for. This thing is so strange. It's Ryan Reynolds, the snail, wants to be fast, and then one day, while traipsing around the LA River, he falls into an engine in the middle of a drag race when the driver hits the NOS, and he becomes infused with NOS, and then he can go fast. And then he and his brother end up at a taco stand, and the taco stand owners are like, we're going to race these snails. And then they're like, wow, the snail is super fast. And then they're like, hey, let's enter this snail into the Indianapolis 500. And then they look up the rules, and they literally say, there's nothing in the rules that says a snail can't enter the Indy 500.
Oh, they
And
gussed
from that
it.
point, I was like, yeah, all right, let's fucking do this.
Yeah. So it's not so much gus as it is gas.
Yeah. and then he races the Indy 500.
Does he win?
Yes.
Oh.
Even though he runs out of NOS right at the end, and
But he has
the
to believe
evil
in
driver
himself.
crashes behind him, and so he has to snail crawl across the finish line while Bill Hader, who's the bad guy, is dragging his car across the finish line to beat him. It's so fucking stupid. It's ridiculous. It's not about anything. There's no moral to it. It's just like, if you want a thing, it will fall into your lap, and then you'll get to do it. It's Ryan Reynolds has spent the snail has spent the entire time watching tapes of the Indy 500 and being like, I want to go fast, and then he gains the ability to go fast, and then he goes fast, and then he wins, and then that's it. There's no lesson to it. There's no anything. There's no arc. It's just, hey, wish fulfillment, and I did it. Hooray for me. It's so weird, but it was like Paul Giamatti is in it, Samuel L. Jackson is in it, Luis Guzman is in it, Michael Pena is in it. I mean, it's just this cast of just like, it's just this constant cast of just like, what are you all doing? This is so fucking
They all have
advertisement
kids.
for the Indy 500. What the fuck? And then like the entire second half of the movie that's all Indy 500 stuff is nothing but advertisements. It's all just ads for everything all over the place. It's so weird. It's such a weird thing. It's a baffling weird thing.
But everyone got a paycheck.
I guess so. They got that DreamWorks money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just want to be able to tell everyone they made an indie movie.
Yeah.
So speaking of paychecks, I watched an Adam Sandler Netflix movie.
Oh, was it Uncut Gems?
No, it was the week of, which is his and Chris Rock's children are getting married.
Yes.
Because they are old enough to have kids in their 20s, which now I feel old.
You
But
could
yeah,
you could have a kid
I've
in your
seen that.
20s. Or you
Yeah.
could have had a kid
Yeah.
in his 20s if you had it in your 20s.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, yeah. I mean, it's as far as the Sandler movies go, this isn't the worst. I mean, it's Robert Smigel directed it, which I thought he would have directed more things, but he really hadn't.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he and Sandler wrote it. It's actually got a nice vibe to it, and it's really well cast. Like, it's one of those movies where like almost everybody that shows up in it, you're like, oh yeah, that works. Like, you find something good about them, and they get a lot of mileage out of this guy they found who has no legs. Like a lot of mileage out of this guy, and
That's a strange turn of phrase.
yeah. Well, you see, he wanted
Well,
to be
he
in
wanted
the
to-
Indy 500,
Right. Okay. All right.
so they gave him Nas.
He's got Nas legs.
Yeah, I mean it's all right. It's and Sandler's not as annoying as you would generally expect, you know, and it's just it's all right. It's not terrible. It's all right.
It felt like he was playing somebody he knew, like someone
Yeah.
in his family or so, like because he had the weird characteristics of that dude down, of just like how he would always be like, it'll be all right,
Yeah.
your ceiling's leaking, we'll fix that, don't worry about
Yeah.
it, here's a $20 bill. Buy
And what's
yourself some."
really weird is I totally bought him and Rachel Dratch being a married couple.
Yeah.
Like the two of them worked really well together, and I guess it's just like like all the characters just fit in that movie, and it just kind of worked. And I like that he pared down the cast. Like, it didn't have like Kevin James wandering around tripping on something, or fucking David Spade being the cousin who's smarmy. There isn't any of the normal bullshit, and it's not a vacation movie. I mean, they're in fucking like Staten Island or wherever.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
a real
whole time.
it's
That's
a
the
shitty vacation.
that's the opposite of vacation.
Yeah.
That's like a sentence.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, it feels like they actually had a story. They're like, maybe we should try with this one. It's not just, hey, we're going on vacation, write some jokes, which seems to be the MO for all the other ones. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
it feels like their Netflix movies are they don't have to necessarily make something that's bankable, because they're going to get paid regardless. It's just got to be something that they know they can put together. Like if that movie had been a theatrical movie, no one would have given a shit about that.
oh no. Yeah, but I mean, I guess that's like when the bar doesn't have to be set very high, it's easy to jump over it. And that's kind of what they
Netflix.
pull off. Yeah.
Also, other things.
Yeah, and I mean, there were a few moments that got a good laugh out of me, but I mean, it's definitely not like nonstop or anything like that. But yeah, you could do a lot worse. Let's put it that way.
I actually watched this a few weeks ago and wasn't going to bring it up, but you mentioned Adam Sandler. I watched Uncut Gems.
Oh,
Yeah. I don't think I like the movie. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I just don't think I liked it, like, at all. And it really comes down to, like, do I want to watch somebody self-destruct in like some of the dumbest ways possible? And the answer is usually no, especially when the person, like, I think there's something interesting about watching somebody self-destruct that has reasons to, or has at least some reasons to. But like he lives in like a nice place in the suburbs with a family and kids, and then it's just like, I have this compulsive gambling disorder, and I'm going to make the worst decisions possible at every point and turn. And I get it. It's like, people have this, but like, it's not very enjoyable to watch someone suffer through it at their own hands. It's a weird thing because I understand how addiction works, and it's like it's at your own hands, but it's not your fault, sort of thing. It's like, but you don't necessarily want to watch it either. Like it's sort of like you watch Leaving Las Vegas once. Like I kind of I worry about people that watch that movie more than once in their life. Like acting aside or whatever. No, like. There's listening to the blues, and then there's like wallowing in misery. Like I said, it's the difference between like give me a good blues album, but don't give me a Cormac McCarthy book. Because it's like there's only so much I can take in a sitting, where it's just like no, and like I said, it's fine, and I mean I think like he's doing a thing, trying, it's I feel like this is gonna sound mean, but I kind of believe it. It's sort of the Bruce Willis principle. Like, I think we've seen Adam Sandler not give a shit for so long that when he kind of half tries, because I still don't like necessarily think like he's doing some amazing thing. Sort of like I kind of had the same reaction to like Punch Drunk Love, where it's like everyone was like, "Oh my God, this is where he becomes serious. Like he's going to do the Jim Carrey transition into drama," and it's like, is he though? Like, because I don't think it's that special. Like, just because you put a guy you're usually going, you bully, like, and put him in a drama thing doesn't suddenly make it like, oh, he stopped doing silly voices. This is good now. Like, no, there's just some people like, never did I think like put him in the highest quality thing ever. And it's like Sylvester Stallone is not going to like do some amazing acting performance. He's going to do good for an action star, kind of thing,
Right.
But like I said, that maybe that's a bad example because Rocky and first Rambo have some drama in them and stuff. It's like this is like less than that. Like I just don't think Adam Sandler has the capacity to be like an amazing actor. It's just like oh, you've just kind of been coasting along doing silly voice thing and barely caring for so long that when you do something serious again, people are maybe a little overreacting to how good it is, just a little bit. Like I said, like Bruce Willis has done this a few times throughout the years where it's like, oh, maybe this is where he cares again. And then it's like, nope, right back to the bullshit. Yeah. But like I said, it's fine. It's a well-made movie. It's, like I said, I just will never watch it again, ever.
Ever.
Yeah. Know what I'm in for. No thanks.
I real quick just want to mention a movie that's on Amazon Prime called The Hollow Point.
Okay.
It is Patrick Wilson and Ian McShane. I kind of liken it to two things. It's like all those movies that came out in video stores in the 90s that had a bunch of stars in them that were just about crimes in a sleepy town somewhere, that kind of thing.
You talking about like a Simple Plan or something like that? Or more like that kind of thing, like the wannabe Tarantino
crime dramas. It's like there are people in this that and it's like, what is this movie and how did these people, why did they decide to do this and things like that. So it kind of harkens back to those. It would pair well with Hell or High Water. It's like a sleepy desert crime story kind of thing, but about desperate people in a bad situation. The story goes some really bizarre places. There's at least one plot twist early on in the film where you're like, whoa, holy shit, I did not see that coming. Because of the cast, you're never quite sure like who's going to live or die and when they might exit the movie. So that's kind of interesting how like the lead could change 2 or 3 times over the course of the film.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting thing that doesn't seem to get made much anymore. And I was just kind of enthralled with it when I saw it. So
recent movie? I mean, how
2016.
Okay.
So it's the guy who directed Apollo 18.
Oh. Okay. That's a weird transition, but all right.
Is that the one with the deadly moon rocks?
Yes.
Okay.
It's nothing like that. But it was just interesting. It was like, oh, he did that. Huh, that's interesting.
Wait, was that the plot of Apollo 18? Because, I mean, that was the one where it was the found footage thing, right? Isn't that what that was?
Yeah, it was this. You never heard about this mission,
Right,
here's
because it went
why.
horribly wrong, and
Yeah.
here's we found footage on the moon.
Yeah.
We went to the moon and found this footage.
Right.
Yes. And it
Literally.
had Kevin Bacon
Mm-hmm.
and Tom Hanks.
Yep.
Well, Kevin
Gary
Bacon didn't get
Sinise.
it because he didn't go to the moon. Well, none of them did. So
Mm,
They had to come back.
right.
There were problems.
So, do you guys have anything else, or do you want some emails?
email, yeah,
Yeah.
I like
fuck
email.
All right. We got two from Murray, and we'll explain why by the end of it. But the first one, he's titled Joxapalooza. Hello, Bamcast. This is Murray from Canada, eh? Longtime listener and now a patron. Love your show, blah, blah, blah. I'd been reluctant to suggest anything to you guys because Chuck has seen everything and apparently has some master list of all the awesome movies ever made already compiled somewhere. But since you're down to watching bad Julie Strain fake boob exploitation flicks, I thought it should be okay. I give you Ninja: The Final Duel, directed by Robert Tye from 1986. It might be available on Amazon Prime, not sure. There's a copy available on Amazon.Canada. It's the craziest, goofiest, most awesome ninja ass-kicking flick that I've ever seen, and I don't use the word awesome lightly. There are naked lady ninjas, stunts, 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 crazy bad good voice dubbing, stolen music dubs from the big-budget films with constant insanity, and the fights are actually good. I laughed with glee at everything I was beholding. Joy through jocks are to be had. This is a 5 jocks movie. Best ninja movie ever. Watch, rinse, repeat. I've said my piece. Bye.
Okay.
So it's just
fine.
called Ninja the Duel. Is that right?
Ninja: The Final
The
Duel.
Final Duel.
Yes. So he said that's all he had to say about it. And then he emailed a few minutes later and said, Doofus is the name of this email. He said, hi, this is Murray from Canada again, eh? I'm a doofus. I just watched Ninja: The Final Duel, and it's from 1986, not 1981. And there are no naked lady ninjas in it. It does have a naked lady fighting ninjas, but that's not nearly as cool. I must have conflated the film with some other crazy ninja flick, maybe a Godfrey Ho picture, or Five Element Ninjas, 1982, which is also a goofy, fun martial arts flick. Ninja: The Final Duel is still loads of fun, but it may only be a 4 jocks movie. The lesson here, kids, is to watch the movie before you send out the recommendation. I wallow in a pool of my own bad movie shame. Murray out.
Yeah, see, that's a rookie mistake. You have to watch the movie before you recommend it because we've gotten these kind of follow-ups before where it's just like, nope, never mind.
I wish I could have done that with Hardware. This is not the movie you think you remember at all.
Yeah.
Still don't know what that other movie is. No clue. I've looked and looked and looked.
Yeah, it happens. And then there's times where you remember I come in peace and life is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't me.
He-
That was BJ.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remembered watching I Come in Peace, and the thing we both remembered was the CD death thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is on Amazon Prime.
It is.
Oh, good.
It has an entire Asian cast, so I don't know what's going on there. It is. Harlow and I have seen 5 Element Ninjas or whatever that is. That's a Shaw Brothers movie. There are no topless ladies fighting in that.
Well, he said 1982, so I don't know if there was a second 5 Element Ninjas or like a.
I mean,
you know,
generally speaking, naked ladies were not really part of most Shaw Brothers things.
yeah.
Yeah, no, they were.
I mean,
They
they
were
were
very
about some
conservative
blood
when it came to
condoms,
the
but
ladies.
like, and actually, the blood condom thing is like, it's not through a lot of their movies. That wasn't until like some later era ones where they were like, we need some violence. People are starting to not care.
Yeah, we're just hitting people with sticks in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we got another email.
All right.
You're gonna
Also
like this
from
one.
Murray?
No,
Oh.
this is from Kurt the Rock from Bangkok.
Oh shit!
It's been ages.
It has been a spell.
Yeah, Kurt said, fatal conflict. He said, hello from Pakistan, where it's perpetually 71 degrees because I've been quarantined for 2 weeks. This, however, has allowed me to explore some of the more remote corners of Amazon Prime, and I discover Fatal Conflict, which just begs for the Bamfcast treatment. It's like someone crossed Die Hard with Lockdown, then time traveled to the year 2000 to make a movie. A very brawless Kari Wurr plays the John McClane role and doesn't do a half-bad job of it. Leo Rossi and Jennifer Rubin split the bad guy duties. Also, Miles O'Keefe is in it, because why not? Check it out. He sends the link to the Amazon site. Kurt. Good to hear from you again, Kurt. It's been a while.
Did I hear about? Did I hear Carrie Wurr or however you say her name? Is that what I heard?
Kari
Yeah,
Wurr,
Kari
yes,
Wurr. Why? So
of Remote Control and Command and Conquer fame.
okay, I was like, because people seem to be in love with her, and I couldn't remember why. Remote Control. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's people of a certain age, I think. And
Yes.
the crazy thing is, like, I watch that show all the time. She must not have done anything for me, or I was just a little bit too young because I don't remember her, like, at all.
No.
I even had the
She
remote
was-
control PC
I
game.
remember Colin Quinn.
Yeah,
Yeah, she was the cute girl that rolled her eyes at Colin Quinn a lot.
sure. Yeah, I just like I
Well,
said, it's
That's every girl.
it's been a very long time since I saw that, and it didn't carry over to
Yep.
Curry Wurr fandom or whatever.
Yeah.
So put it on your giant list of awesome movies, Chuck,
Sure,
that
list.
exists somewhere.
There's no such list.
There's
Yeah.
a list. Put it on it, Chuck.
I have lists, sure.
We did used to have a list, but that
Oh, that list still exists.
it does.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's
we
a
had a
twist?
recommendation list too, but yeah. Problem is, so much of them had like keywords we don't review.
Yeah.
So that's always a bummer.
Yeah. And
Yeah, because I think we would watch. What is it? Is it Death Wish 3? That's the where it starts to go absolutely fucking insane. But
Yes.
horrible uses of the keyword beforehand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Death Wish 2 is the one we can never ever watch
Okay.
because that's like 20 straight minutes of keyword violations.
Mm-hmm.
Death Wish 3 also has that problem, but it's kind of everything in that movie is done with in 30 seconds. Like every scene is over in 30 seconds.
And it's mitigated somewhat by just over the topness with everything else.
Everything that movie's fucking nuts.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I thought that was the one. I
Yeah.
remember you saying like that's the insane one.
Yes, Death Wish 3 is the fucking most canon movie ever.
Is it a Death Wish movie where he twists the guy's dick or just grabs him by the balls or whatever? Like it just yanks into his crotch and it just keeps twisting it. Like I swear to God, there was a Charles Bronson movie I saw on like cable one time where he just grabs a dude's junk that's like on the floor and just getting information out of him by just twisting his dick.
That could be Kinjite, Forbidden Subjects.
I'm sure somebody
Probably.
knows out there. I'm just saying. Like
Yeah.
I remember seeing on cable a Charles Bronson movie. I always assumed it was a death
dick twisting list that I've got here.
dick twisting. No, I always assumed it was a
Richard Twisters.
I assumed it was a latter day, Death Wish, because he definitely had that. He had the older Charles Bronson look, like he switched,
It's definitely a canon film, I'll tell you that.
Sure. Dick twisting. That was their
Yeah,
thing.
you only get twisting from Colon and Globus.
Yeah. Monacan
Hey,
Golan
this
actually
movie
means
needs more
twisted dick.
twisting.
Yeah, Monacan Golan means twisted dick in Yiddish, I believe. Yeah.
Right.
I got a Monacan Golan.
It was a tribute. It was a tribute to him.
Fucking Charles Bronson.
Jesus.
No, I'm looking forward to. I mean, I know we're a ways off still, but like when this is over and we can get back together and watch the movies, man, we're gonna watch some fucking movies.
All right.
I'll tell
Yeah.
ya. None of this like, hey, maybe this dog movie's all right. No, fuck that. We are gonna go hardcore,
Oh, thank God.
nonstop, 5 Joxapaloozas.
Is that what we're doing on Extra? You're just like setting a tone so that I can have joy later? That we're watching the most mediocre of the mediocrest shit ever?
No, Extra's different.
Oh,
Extra's
is
an
it?
experimental process.
Oh, sure. It's the Black Box Theater of fucking Bamfcast over here.
Extra is just kind of a free form, whatever happens.
That's mainly why we don't video cast it, because we're just both wearing black leotards and just blending into the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chuck says wistfully.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, Extra will get better. I promise.
Oh, okay. All right.
He doesn't believe you.
I don't, because I mean, like I said, it's like we've been on is this a one jocks or one bag thing for like a while now? It's like, this is so like, I wasted
a
my
lot of
time.
zeros.
Yeah, a lot of zeros here lately. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bat and a goose egg here lately.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It'll get better.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you want to hear those extra episodes early, check them out at patreon.com/bmfcast, where it's 6 months exclusive access there.
About a year now.
No, I mean like ahead.
Yeah, about a year.
Yeah. Oh, seriously? I could have sworn you put a Christmas one up like a week or two ago.
Yeah, it's.
Or was that Christmas in July from last year?
I don't know.
Holy
Okay.
shit.
Okay, so the December episodes are making their way to the main feed now. So yeah, about
Yeah.
6 months. You're right.
Yeah, so you're about 6 months. Yeah, if you want 6 months ahead, it's only $1.
You could say we're 6 months underground because I believe that's the latest episode that just went on the main
yes,
feed.
It is. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. And plenty of other stuff. Bonus Doctor Who podcast at a higher level.
Mm-hmm.
Exclusive access in the Discord server. Whole bunch of good stuff.
Yeah.
We try to make it worth your money.
Mm-hmm.
So check it out. Patreon.com/BMFcast. Can't speak. If you want to email us, email at bmf@bmfcast.com. Or give us a call. Wake up Garfield. 910-5-JOCKS-BMF. 910-556-9263.
That's our new
You will not
morning
actually
show.
wake up. You will not actually wake up Garfield. He will just take
He'll
your
send
message.
you straight to voicemail.
You call and it's just Andrew Garfield. And he's like, "Hello." You're like, "What? This is not what I was expecting."
Spider-Man.
It's like, I
Why are
remember
all
you
the
from that
Spider-Men
Doctor Who
British
episode.
now? We got me and Tom Holland over here web slinging about. Yeah. All right.
Exactly what's going on.
I think I assume they have a British Spider-Man monthly meeting or something
Uh-huh.
just to talk about other web slinging action.
Actually, it's President Garfield, and I think it'll sound a little something like this.
I hate Mondays. I'm
Otherwise,
President
just-
Garfield.
Otherwise, just go to bmfcast.com. Find all the social stuff on the side there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So do we have homework for next week?
Not
Or should
yet.
we do No
but
Quarters at some point? I know
Yeah,
we do
let's-
that show too.
Let's do a No Quarters next week.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right,
technically speaking, it could just be another variety hour. Be like, we're talking about video games this time.
Yeah, it could be.
I mean,
I
I
got a
don't.
Turbo to talk about.
You think you already did?
No,
Eventually,
the other
Yeah,
side.
oh, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't eventually end up in the Indy 500 in the video game.
I hope the whole video game is nothing but an indie simulator
Oh,
where it's just graphic swaps of cars with smells.
it's just all pixel art. Boop, boop,
Yeah.
boop, 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 boop. Hit the turbo button.
Just mash the buttons and the little snail moves.
Only available in the TurboGrafx 16. All right, let's get out of here, shall we?
Yes.
I'm Harlow.
I'm Mackie.
I'm Chuck. And this is Bamfcast Out.
Motherfuckers.
All right. Hit and stop.
I'm also going to hit stop.
Oh, well, we're hitting stop then, I guess.
Yeah. I'm actually going to upload it this time. I promise,
that's-
Chuck.
Cool.
Hey. So I'm guessing you were not able to edit that other podcast.
I'll get it done tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right. I should have sat down to edit it before the day it usually comes out.
Yeah. And then go, oh shit, Mackie forgot to upload it again.
That was like the first chance I had, and I sat down and was like, where's his file? What the hell?
And the thing is, I deleted the other one out so that I'd have room to put it in there, and nope.
Well, at first that's what I thought happened. I was like, did he delete it preemptively, like not realizing I hadn't grabbed it yet? So luckily it archives the deleted files.
Yeah.
and
Well,
it
when I
wasn't
record
there.
on the other Mac, I don't have Dropbox access there
Oh,
because I'm on Jen's login, and then I have to come over here to do it. So that's why it gets messed up.
gotcha.
Yep. So can I delete that now?
No.
No. All right.
No.
I will leave it.
I'll delete it when I grab it.
Yeah, but this will hassle me about being full. But whatever.
Oh, well,
I don't
hang
care.
on. I'll do it.
I don't care.
I'll grab it right now.
I don't.
Fine.
Man, now that I have a job, I feel bad. Like I didn't do any of the stupid quarantine stuff. You know, like shave my head or whatever. I feel like I should have done that at some point. But now I have to look presentable for my job.
I shaved my face, but I stopped.
Yeah.
It came back.
Yeah, yours came back pretty good. I've just been training. I let mine get a little bit long, and it just annoyed the shit out of me. It wasn't like I didn't like having it at any length other than the short I keep it at.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it as long as it's like, I don't think I could do like too long, but my main thing is gotta have the mustache all turned away from the mouth.
Yeah.
Like if a
Wow,
mustache
you
hair.
just jumped way up
What?
sound wise.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
I bumped my microphone, but better?
That's Zoom doing its weird thing.
Oh,
Okay.
I thought I had that shit turned off, the auto.
Guess not.
I don't know, man. But no, I just I can't have mustache hairs touching my lips. It drives me fucking crazy. So I always keep that
Yeah,
shit all the way trimmed back.
I'm with you there.
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I uploaded it, so we'll plan to talk about video games next week.
Yeah. Why not?
Sweet.
I
We
mean,
played some of them.
I mean, we could cross post it on the feeds or something if you want to. I don't know. Just spitballing.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's already variety hour. We can talk about whatever the fuck we want to talk about, as evidenced by last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna delete this variety hour.
All right. Well, we're still online. Should I take us offline? Are we doing inside
Yeah, go
baseball
ahead, do
stuff?
that.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, everybody.